Here with recent Strikeforce signee Dan Henderson and a mixed martial arts legend. Coming over to Strikeforce, there's the two fights you've been talking about, Jake Shields and Gegard Mousasi. How do you feel in matchup with each guy individually? Break down those fights.
Well, first, Jake Shields, he's shown that he can submit some top guys and control the fight fairly well. And it's a challenge in a little bit different way. Obviously, he hasn't shown as much striking as some of the other guys, but on the ground he's phenomenal, and he's phenomenal at putting you there. So it's a fight that I need to be real careful with and make sure I'm in shape and train hard for it. And he is very dangerous, and I think that's a great matchup for me with my wrestling background and the fact that I've been known to knock a couple guys out. So the Gegard Mousasi fight, that's something that might be down the road. Like I said, if I start out at 185, I'll probably want to defend that title at least once. I haven't seen him fight that much, but he's shown that he's very relaxed out there and likes to control the cage, and he's good in all aspects of it. He's good on his back, he's good on top, and he's good with his striking for sure. And so I think that would be a definite war, because I think we're both well-rounded and we both like to strike, so that makes for a very exciting and fun-filled night of fighting. So
You've said in the past that you prefer to fight at 205, not cutting a weight and stuff. Why are you coming to 185 in Strikeforce?
I think that me in my last few fights have been fighting more at 185, and I don't want to come in at 205 and then maybe win that belt and then go down to 185 just to fight down there. I think it's more interesting to me to kind of start down lower and possibly, who knows what will happen in the future, but possibly go up after that. So it was more of a collective thought, not just my thoughts on things, but with Scott Coker and myself just deciding on that fight. And I think at 205, Mousasi really, that's a fight that kind of would need to be built a little bit, because it is kind of intriguing in a lot of ways. And, there's not a whole lot of depth right now at 205 in Strikeforce, and that's why he's going out signing some more guys that would kind of make more interesting matchups and be able to really build that fight.
Jake Shields is someone who, despite his record and his accolades in the sport, doesn't get much respect. Does that factor into this at all? Trying to give Jake Shields his big opportunity, and also a stylistic matchup for you that's pretty good, because you're an Olympic level wrestler, and he was a college wrestler.
Well, I think that is true. A lot of times Jake Shields gets overlooked as far as notoriety or whatever, just because of his style. And with me wanting to fight him, and on CBS especially, it's going to really propel him as a fighter as well. And a lot of people are going to be tuning in and seeing him fighting me, and that alone is good for him. And the fact that he is a very tough opponent, I got to be real careful out there. I can't expect to walk through anybody here, especially Jake, someone like Jake. And I'm excited about that matchup. And like I said, I get excited about challenges. And
one of your students, Mayhem Miller, was actually Jake's last fight. Does this play into it at all? Trying to avenge Jason a little bit, or even just having gone through a camp with Jake Shields in mind, helping coach Jason.
Jason hasn't actually trained with us for a year and a half, so who knows what would have happened had he been training with us. But style-wise, it wasn't a good matchup for Mayhem, just because he's not the best at defending takedowns, and Jake is one of the better guys at putting you on your back. So. With that being said, I may have been fighting Mayhem if he would have won. Who knows? Because it's not anything about Jake Shields. It's more of a title shot at 185 that this was about.
Coming over from Japan to the UFC, a lot of people didn't know who you were outside of hardcore fans. UFC obviously gave you some great exposure, but do you feel that CBS is kind of, where you want to end your career also in this organization, just because, you spent so much of your career kind of outside of the mainstream?
I'm really not one to want to try and jump around organization to organization. I like to try and, plant my feet and let the roots grow a little bit where I'm at. And I did that in Pride for 8 years. I fought there. And then, the UFC bought Pride and ended up over there. And didn't think I was going to be leaving there. And really, they could have made they definitely could do a better job making fighters happy. And it just got to be, real frustrating over there. And so I started looking elsewhere, and I got really excited the more I looked into Strikeforce and the opportunities that are here, and being able to fight on CBS is huge. And, so with that being said, I don't plan on going anywhere as long as I'm happy, and I'm happy with every aspect of the deal. So, and we signed a 4-fight deal. Now my focus is going to be on making sure I win all 4 fights.
If I could rephrase it a little bit, are you interested at all at being a star, because CBS is going to give you a lot of exposure?
That's not the reason why I fight. It definitely helps as far as the paycheck goes. The more popularity, the more guys watch you, the bigger the paycheck. So, and without fans, I wouldn't have a job. So I appreciate all the fans, and CBS is definitely a much bigger platform to drive more fans to the sport and to myself, and that is exciting to me to be a part of that.
Thanks, Tanner.